Starting off, well, first some introductions for people tuning in now. We are going up against Zer0 in a best of 3 on my ranked ladder, which you can find on my Discord. So we both queued up and got matched against each other. And here we are. The maps are set and explained in the Discord. And the winner will receive some elo points automatically, courtesy of the bot. To start off, Zer0 has opted to counterpick my coast with Empire. A pretty classic counterpick, but definitely a matchup that I am very comfortable in. So we'll see if Zer0 is able to successfully defeat my build here. If you've watched before, you may recognize this as a pretty standard build that I take. Sorry about that. Pretty standard build that I take, which I feel is very safe against the majority of Empire builds, even or especially cannon builds, since deck gunners have cannons have a very hard time hitting deck gunners. So with a little bit of hotkeying out of the way and positioning of our scurvy dogs, I think we are ready. So yeah, we've just gone for standard gun line and deck gunners to counter the usual Empire ranged for Zer0. He has opted for mortars, an interesting pick, maybe specifically because he knows I like to play this style, and also a cannon, which we're not too worried about, unless maybe if it starts sniping Noctilus. There doesn't appear to be a ton of Empire Knights, but of course they could be hidden in the trees. So we will begin sending our dogs out to scout for any knights that might come along the flanks. The mortars continue to fire in, and we have a bright wizard. A good amount of there's just some pistoliers. Yeah, there's a good amount of ranged units, and actually some great swords in the back, which I'd say is a pretty interesting pick. Not sure how I feel about that one. As we the fighting gets underway. You can see that my opponent is advancing with the archers, a good play since they are outgunned by my deck gunners. But we have Noctilus, who will be able to start summoning and causing some trouble there. See, my deck gunners have also started taking some heat, but it's not too much of a problem, since we can heal them up with Noctilus and burst down the bright wizard to make sure that we don't have to be worried about any fire magic that shuts down my deck gunners. So there we go, that's out of the way. And let's see, our sirens are doing okay. We really just have to worry about our scurvy dogs not dying, as they are integral to shutting down the archers. And also, now that some of the troops are routing on the front line, they will also be able to keep these guys running. So very good for us there. We've routed off the majority of the archers, and now we can focus on the artillery. I generally put artillery on low priority, since since the actual DPS is pretty low. But we can send over some sirens just to stop them from doing damage, and begin using our guns to shut down Volkmar, who will be having a pretty hard time as he dives in towards my gun line. The pressure will only increase, and we can see he has already gone down to about half HP. Now, especially since the archers are dealt with, one of the main Vampire Coast counters, I do feel like we are in a pretty safe position now. But we'll have to make sure we don't get too overconfident, as the knights will still be able to pounce on our guns. So we'll have to be very vigilant to make sure that doesn't happen. Our sirens are doing very well in the back line, so we'll continue to keep them there. I like to use them just to stand around and be extremely tanky and hard to kill. And they're doing pretty well there. You just have to keep them away from magic damage, such as Volkmar. Looks like an Empire Captain is also starting to approach our gun line. But that isn't too much of a problem. He might reach one unit of handguns, but as soon as that crumbles away, the Empire Captain should be dealt with. Once again, I must reiterate, as with every Vampire Coast game, scurvy dogs are very important. You can see that thanks to them being alive, we've been able to finish, what's it? Not terror out, but we've been able to, oh man, I don't know what it's called. We've been able to collapse those infantry troops to keep them permanently running. And that's why you need scurvy dogs. Oh man, no, I can tell I'm super frazzle brained today. But we're playing good enough to at least win our Vampire Coast game. So not too bad. Now looking at the build, you can see our sirens did very well, just staying alive as long as possible. Our front line collapsed, but in doing so, they managed to keep all of our important assets alive. You can see here, scurvy dogs, keep them alive as long as possible, and they'll get hundreds of kills for you. Simple as that. For only 500 gold, they are amazing for Vampire Coast. And Noctilus at full HP too means that we were in a pretty good place the whole game. So for this game, we are in the second game against Zer0. If we win this, we have won the best of 3. And we are playing dwarves against greenskins. We've bought a pretty mixed build with a whole bunch of tools. Iron Drakes to melt chaff. Troll Hammer torpedoes to go for any trolls. And Rangers to help shoot down any weaker cavalry, like forest goblin riders or spider riders. Deal with nasty skulkers, of course. We have many miners. And, of course, a bunch of dwarf warriors to hold the line. There's also some slayers, in case he goes really zealous with an aggressive push. And a flame cannon, because it is a small map. So it won't be punished as much by any doom divers. With that out of the way, we can look at our opponent's build, numbering at about 1,000. You can see that he's opted for a huge rock lobber style play, which means that we definitely want to be advancing as quickly as possible. And I also count me some black orcs, so we're going to use our gyro bomber to try and shut them down. There's also some skirmishers in the far corner, presumably to shut down any vanguards, which is good for us because it means that it'll take them a little while longer to reach my position. We'll have to be aware of them though, so let's position some rangers over there in advance. See, some arrow fire is now coming in towards my gyrocopter, but we can dodge by just attacking and moving forwards. And you know what? I think this is a good opportunity to snipe out Grom. So we're going to slow him down with the Rune Lord. Slow him again with our gyrocopter. And start pummeling him with our Iron Drakes. Oh, we gotta make sure that gyrocopter keeps moving. You can see if you don't move your gyrocopter, it can definitely cause problems as it doesn't move when it gets staggered. We've also made a little bit of a misplay here, letting our back line get compromised. And but we've almost routed off Grom, so that's a plus. It looks like his leadership, however, is just barely keeping together. Let's pull back our miners. And oh no, it looks like our gyro bomber is actually about to rout, which can be a big problem, because we definitely need those bombs to drop. Luckily, it does recover, and we can begin our bombing run. Also want to position to make sure that we don't get murdered by fanatics, and pull back our iron drakes, who are a little bit overextended. Ooh, a nice mither coming down from our opponent. Puts the gyro bomber in a pretty bad position. We're just going to drop as many bombs as possible, hopefully before it routs, which will hopefully stop fanatics from coming out, which I think it did. And we can now pull back that gyro bomber so that I can stay and safely shoot Grom. Oh, the fanatics do actually manage to come out, but our gyro bomber has recovered. We pulled it. We made it charge a unit just for that leadership. And right now it looks like things are going about okay. Maybe a little bit sketchy since we have slayers engaged with goblins. Not exactly the fight that they want to be taking. But at the very least, we've engaged on the archers now. And did Grom die? I'm not sure. Anyways, there are still black orcs, which are the main threat to us at the moment. But we have a pretty nice position now with our troll hammers. Hammering them in from the side should take them out, which means that the majority of the greenskin AP is off the field. I'm also still not seeing Grom, so I guess he's been dealt with, which helps us out for sure. The river troll hag could very well be the last of the leadership for the greenskins, so we're going to try to take her out with these troll hammers, pulling them back and moving in infantry to support. Meanwhile, our iron drakes, very battered, can still prove useful. We'll just be sending them against less threatening targets like the rock lobbers. Checking again, confirms that Grom is indeed out of the field. So we can just close this out with the troll hammers, routing off that river troll hag. One volley nearly takes her out thanks to their anti-large. And a little bit of iron drake fire almost instantly routs off some goblin fanatics for us. So nice. Yeah, at this point, this game is basically over. We just have to shut down those rock lobbers. And even though there aren't that many Dowie left, I'm very sure that they won't be routing off. We still have our Lord. And all major threats to them have been taken care of. Let's see, River Troll Hag is out of range, so we'll retarget those Night Goblins. We especially want them to... We want to bring them down below their HP threshold for fanatics. You can't see it there, but I think it's about 25% is how low you need to get them to make sure that they can't throw any more of those devastating fanatics your way. But there we go. Balance of power is now swinging in our favor. Let's see, these unbreakable night goblins are still holding up my rangers, but we'll leave them there as they are decent fighters. Our slayers are taking archer fire, but I think this game is basically over. So we're just focusing on getting in as much damage as possible. And there we go. Our second game won against Zer0 means that we have won the best of 3 today. After which we shall be continuing to play a few quick battles before closing out the stream. The quad rock lobbers is definitely a good play, but expected for sure, which is why we brought more of an aggressive Dowie army. And on such a short map, we were able to rush and and close out the game with our superior actual fighting forces. Rock Lobbers do okay. You can see that they got quite a few kills, but they don't really support your front line. So we managed to win that and then just clean them out.